Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Imad. I'm a surgical oncology doctor now working in Hyderabad at present. I just wanted to give you an idea on how to approach the exam, how to write the surgical oncology exam, how to prepare for it. I won't go into a lot of details. I know most of you have your own ideas on how to prepare and all, but I'll just give you an overview of how the exam is prepared and how you have to approach the exam to crack it. As you all know, the theory part of the exam will be for 80 marks, and 80 question paper will be given to you. Online exam is usually conducted and it will amount for 80 marks. Once you have cleared your theory, a list will come out which will call you for an interview. The interview will carry 20 marks, out of which will amount to a total of 100 marks, which finally decides your rank. Now, for any exam that you are writing, whether it is NEET SS, whether it is AIMS, whether it is JIPMER, it is very important to understand how the exam is prepared so that you can prepare according to the exam questions. It is important to understand who prepares the questions. Now, when you come to the AIMS Surgical Oncology exam, the questions are prepared by the faculty of AIMS Delhi and few of the other AIMS branches also. When these faculty are preparing these questions, they do not open the textbook and pick up lines from the textbook and prepare the exam, prepare the question. They prepare questions from what they are experiencing in their daily life. They are very thorough in their concepts, so they use the concepts that they know and whatever they are encountering in their day-to-day life, they will pick up questions from those aspects. So most of the questions that come to you are concept oriented and picked up from their daily practice. Suppose they have done some particular surgery, they found the case to be interesting, they form a case on that particular surgery. What flap was used in that particular scenario? So they'll just pick up the question from that particular scenario and frame it as a question. Very rarely you find direct lines picked up from the textbook and asked in the exam in AIMS Surgical Oncology entrance examination. Now coming to what to read, it is very important to know that DAVITA is everything for surgical oncology entrance examination. You have to read DAVITA cover to cover. NEET super specialty entrance, there are many people who get into surgical oncology without even touching DAVITA, but to crack an AIMS surgical oncology entrance examination without DAVITA is next to impossible. You have to read DAVITA cover to cover. You have to read. Most of the chapters should be covered in DAVITA. Few chapters here and there you can leave, but most of the topics you have to cover. Coming to head and neck oncology, Jatin Shah is the answer. If you are preparing solely for head and neck oncology, then you have to read Jatin Shah completely. However, if you are reading for surgical oncology and you want to cover few topics of head and neck oncology, then only few specific chapters from Jatin Shah, such as lip, oral cavity, reconstructive surgery, and cervical lymph nodes. 4 main chapters you have to cover from Jatin Shah when you are preparing for surgical oncology entrance. However, if you are preparing for head and neck oncology in particular, you have to read Jatin Shah cover to cover. The another important book to read is AJCC 8th edition. The AJCC 8th edition has a lot of data in it. It is not just useful for staging purposes. It is also useful for what investigations are to be done for staging purposes. And it sometimes gives the pathology of the disease, sometimes gives what tumor markers are being used at present, what are the latest updates, and what are the prognostic factors that are important. All those things are given in AJCC 8th edition in a very beautiful manner. Most of the things are in the AJCC 8th edition are not even present in DAVITA when coming to the diagnosis and staging part of the disease. Management part, of course, it is not given in AJCC, but the how to diagnose the disease and how to stage the disease, it is given very well in AJCC 8th edition. Now, many students will have doubts that we have to read journals to crack surgical oncology entrance examination, which is not actually true. At the max, one question, only one question, or more than one is two. Not more than that, any question will come in the exam directly asked from a journal. So you do not have to waste your time. You have to focus your studies on the topics in which the questions are usually asked. Targeting that one question is not going to help you in any way. Even if you leave that question, it will not matter. I will come to how many questions to attempt and how to attempt those questions at a later stage during your presentation. But what you have to understand is, do not waste your time reading journals. It is not going to give any output to you. It is not going to help you in any way. Trials, important thing is, latest trials, AIMS surgical oncology, they generally tend to ask. So it is important to know which trials. They will not ask you details of the trials. At the max, they will ask you to what topic the trial is related to. What was the intention of the trial being performed. They will not ask you what were the subgroup of the patients, what were the results, what were the percentages. They will not ask you this in the entrance examination. That you have to understand. Do not waste your time reading in depth about each and every trial. You just have to remember what was the main purpose of the trial being done, to what topic is it related, and what was, if the trial has a particular name, remember the trial's name. More than that, you do not have to waste your time reading for anything in the preparation point of view or the entrance examination. Coming to the general surgery questions, for NEET surgical super specialty entrance examination, as you all know, you have a general surgery part of the paper where around 40% of the paper is based on general surgery, and you have to read general surgery for that. But once you come to the AIIMS surgical oncology, the general surgery questions are asked. In surgical gastro entrance examination for AIIMS, they do not ask any general surgery questions. But in surgical oncology entrance, general surgery questions are asked. At approximately 4 to 5 questions from general surgery will be asked. But what general surgery questions are asked, what areas to focus on for preparation, that also you should know. Questions from trauma, from benign diseases, they are never asked. You do not have to waste any time reading for topics like trauma, benign diseases like pancreatitis or liver abscess. These topics you do not have to touch. You do not have to read anything from these topics. They will never ask a question on these topics. Perioperative management care is something that as a surgical oncologist, you are practically involved in day-to-day life, and these questions will be asked. Like if a person has undergone a Whipple surgery, some post-op complications are expected. So perioperative management care of that post-op complication, a question can be framed on those topics. So that area you have to focus on: electrolyte balance maintenance in the post-operative period. Pre-op, how do you investigate for surgical fitness? How do you look for the pulmonary function of the patient? Those, if the patient is undergoing surgery for lung cancer, you have to know how the pulmonary function pulmonary function is assessed prior to surgery. So these type of questions will be asked in the exam. So you have to be thorough with the perioperative management care. General oncology is mostly asked from the DAVITA only. It is not usually asked from Savitran or from Schwartz. Most of the topics are asked from general oncology of DAVITA. Statistics, at least 1 to 2 questions will always come in AIIMS surgical oncology entrance exam from statistics. Statistics you can read from many books are available. You have to read statistics. You cannot ignore statistics because usually these questions are very easy to answer. They are not difficult, but if you have not read statistics, you will lose the marks. So it is a scoring area. At least 1 to 2 questions will always come from statistics. They will not ask complicated statistics. Basic statistics are usually asked. And these statistic questions are also covered in our ADR Plexus app also. And you can also find statistics when you are preparing for your PG entrance. The books that you used to study for statistic preparation, those books are still applicable for this entrance exam also. You have to read statistics. Now coming to the other specialties like neurosurgery or cardiothoracic surgery, these questions are not asked in surgical oncology entrance examination. However, plastic surgery is an essential component of surgical oncology. In day-to-day practice of surgical oncology, you need plastic surgery assistance. It might be breast reconstruction, it might be oral cavity reconstruction, it might be soft tissue reconstruction. So plastic surgery, now also called as oncoplastic department, is a very important component of surgical oncology. So you can always expect at least 1 to 2 questions from plastic surgery. So it will benefit you if you put some time and effort in reading something about plastic surgery before going to the exam. Now, repeat questions. Many students have doubts whether repeat questions are asked and how important are repeat questions. I can assure you repeat questions are definitely always asked in AIIMS surgical oncology entrance exam. It may range from 1 question, it may range up to 10 to 15 questions also. If a lot of repeat question comes in the exam, then it is beneficial for you. If you do not get them, then also it doesn't matter. But if you get repeat questions and you do not answer repeat questions, then you are losing when compared to the other onco aspirants. So if other people are answering these repeat questions, then you should also be able to answer these repeat questions. And most of the repeat questions they ask in the exam are controversial. They ask these repeat questions because they know that the students are not aware of the exact answer of this question. Many questions, when you repeatedly see in the AIIMS entrance, you ask multiple people, different people will be giving you different answers. So these are the questions that they repeat in the exam. So it is better to have an understanding of these questions and fix in your mind that if this question is going to come in the exam, I am going to give this answer. So such questions should be there with you, and you should have a base of having these repeat questions. Now, where can you find these repeat questions? The inside secret of AIMS Surgical Oncology is most of the students who are doing senior residency in AIMS, they will have access to these repeat questions from their seniors. These repeat questions you do not get everywhere. If you have friends in AIMS department anywhere, you can ask them. They might give you some old questions, but the problem is many students do not prefer to share these questions with each other. The reason being, if you give these questions to your peer who is also preparing, then they might have an edge over you. So many students do not share. However, if you have a very close friend, then you can ask them to help you out. Also, if you have written an AIMS exam, if you are planning to write the AIMS exam, suppose if you are planning to write, your target is to write in AIMS in April, then it is a very good idea to write the entrance exam in November, not for the sake of cracking the exam, but for the sake of having a base of questions with you. Remember the questions in the exam, come out and make a question bank of yourself and keep it with you, solve them. Definitely in the April exam, at least 5 questions will come from that paper itself. So that is a very important aspect that you should know. Repeat questions will be there. Most of the question bank nowadays also have a few of these repeat questions, but the latest questions will never be there in the question banks that are there. Few of the questions we have put in our app also, but again, every 6 months new questions are added up. So those questions will also we will try to discuss in our WhatsApp group also whenever the exam is coming up. But if you yourself write and save the questions with you, then you can be confident of what the question was, because many a times the question is altered during the discussion. It is not exactly remembered. When I myself wrote my exam, I had written the November exam. I had made a question bank of myself from that November exam. I was able to recollect around 85 questions. And out of that 85, I got around 12 questions in my next paper. So which actually benefited me a lot. I would suggest that if you have the time, then that is one way to approach it. Now, how to prepare for your exam? It is, and everyone has their own way of preparing. Some people like to make notes, some people like to read from the textbook itself. Every time they highlight, they put up stick up notes in the textbook. It is your way of reading. You have, it is not like you are studying from now. You have been studying from your childhood, and you have made your own way of preparation. You have made your own way of memorizing things. You have made your own way of revising things. I would suggest stick to your own methods. Do not copy from others. Do not try to create new methods of learning. If you try to create new methods of learning, you are forgetting the tried and tested method that you have developed over the years and created your own path till now. So you do not need to do anything new. What you have to prepare, from where you have to study, those things can be picked up. But how you prepare and how you study is your own preparation. You have to do that. You have to read it. You have to make your notes. You have to, if you like reading only from the textbook, read only from the textbook. Whatever is making you comfortable, follow that. Another thing is, whenever you read something, it is difficult to remember it. You have read one chapter in the textbook, but when it comes to the exam, you have to apply that knowledge and come up with the answer. That application of that knowledge comes with experience. You have to practice. Only then that you can apply that knowledge. If you are practicing in surgical oncology department, you are already applying that knowledge that you have read and practicing it in day-to-day life. If you're not working, then you have the option of opting for question banks. This is where question banks help you. You have read a topic, then a scenario is given in a question to you, and then you apply that knowledge and solve that question. That helps you to analyze that the knowledge that you have read, and helps you to imbibe that knowledge and helps you to remember it. It makes it difficult to forget that knowledge once you apply it. So you have to read the topics, you have to keep on applying it in answering question banks, and then it helps you in remembering it. Important thing to know is the questions in AIMS are always concept based. You can, very few fact based questions are asked. It is not memory based exam. You have to read every question in detail. You have to read every option in detail. Many a times you'll find that two options are very similar. You're not able to pick from the two options. That is the most difficult part of an AIMS exam. Two options you can easily rule out, but between two options you're always stuck. So that is the reason why your concepts have to be very strong. And the thumb rule for all entrance exams is you have to revise, revise, and again revise, because oncology is a department where you keep on forgetting. There are new things coming up. There is staging. Staging is something that you keep forgetting, because in general surgery you don't really think about staging that much, but when it comes to oncology you have to remember staging. And staging questions are definitely asked in exam. At least 1 to 2 questions will always be there in the exam. Direct staging will be picked up and asked in the exam. So staging, you have to be thorough. And staging you will remember only by revision. If you are practicing surgical oncology daily, then that also helps you in remembering staging. But if you're not practicing, then you have to keep on revising, only then you will remember. How are the questions framed in the exam? The most of the questions that are framed are clinical questions. They might ask you questions focusing on the diagnosis of the disease. They might give you the clinical scenario, and they might ask you what the diagnosis might be, or they might ask you the staging. They might give you the clinical findings. They might give you the imaging findings. They might give you the pathological findings, and they might ask you what is the stage of the disease. Or it might be a direct question itself, like so, the T and M stage is this one. What is the final stage? And another important part of the questions that are asked is the treatment. How do you manage this patient? Whether you will consider for neoadjuvant chemotherapy, whether you consider directly going for surgery, whether what adjuvant treatment will you give, if adjuvant treatment is there, whether you give chemotherapy or radiotherapy or chemoradiotherapy. All these things are concept-based questions, and these questions you will get from the data itself. Many students also try to read the NCCN guidelines. NCCN guidelines can help you in certain areas. If you have a lot of time, then you can focus your time on NCCN guidelines and add on to your knowledge. But most of the questions that are asked in the exam are from data. You do not need to read NCCN guidelines in detail. If you have time, well and good. If you don't have time, focus on data. Focus not just on reading data, focus on revising data. The time that you're going to spend on reading NCCN guidelines, if you can use that time in revising what you have already read in data, that will help you more rather than adding more and more knowledge and forgetting the knowledge that you have previously acquired. One-liners, although they are asked, mostly they are concept-based. They do not ask direct one-liners in the exam. They will very rarely one or two one-liners will be asked in the exam. Coming to the time management in the exam, you have got 80 questions and 90 minutes. I can assure you, on whomever I have spoken till now who have given this exam, including myself, you do not need to panic. You always have time in the exam. You never fall short of time. You have enough time to read the questions twice or thrice also. So in this, even if you're starting the exam now, you read the questions for, you read first question, you think that I don't know the answer, you wait for 2 minutes, then you go to, by the time you reach the fifth question and you still realize that I don't know the answer, and it's been 10 minutes. Still, the important thing here is do not panic. Many a times the tough, lengthy questions are there in the starting of your exam, the easier part is in the rest. It's not like the entire exam is going to be very difficult. That very rarely happens. So you always have time, never panic in the exam. You will always have time to attempt all the questions. Now, whether to attempt all the questions or not, that is another story. That is the numbers game. Whether you should answer all the questions. The important thing in AIIMS surgical oncology entrance exam is the high negative marking. Any other exam, you have a 1/4 negative marking, but in AIIMS, you have got 1/3 negative marking. So, whether this question is something that comes up with almost every student's mind. 1/3 negative marking is a very big loss. Should I answer all questions? Should I take a risk in the exam? The thing is, when you're writing an exam, you're not trying to score. You are trying to get a seat. Your target is to get a seat in the exam. Think in a critical manner. How many questions do I know perfectly? How many questions am I confident about? How many questions I am guessing? That analysis should be there as part of your exam writing. So whenever you are writing an exam, suppose again you have completed your first phase of the exam, you have attempted 80, you have gone through 80 questions, you have marked at least 40 questions with confidence, and 20 questions you are kept for answered but kept under review, and 20 questions you have not answered. Suppose 40 questions will get 40 marks. Out of that 20 questions that you have kept answered with review and without review, you have probably scored, suppose you have got 10 correct and 10 are wrong. So you have losing 3.3 here, and your total score comes to around 46.66. And if you have left 20 questions, that is. So in this scenario, 46 is not a score that will get you a seat. Most of the time, every year, what we are seeing is in the theory exam, at least your target should be, you should have a target of at least 55 to 60 marks. More than 60 marks, very rarely someone gets it, but 55 should be your minimum. There have been many sessions where 50 has also been a cutoff, but you should have a target of at least 55 to 60. If you feel after completing the first phase of your exam, you have confidently answered a lot of questions and you feel that I am in the safe range of 55 to 60, then you do not need to take any further risk. If you're leaving the questions, doesn't matter. But if you feel that I won't be able to touch 50 also, then it is time to take risk, because even if you don't take it, you're not going to get a seat. So why not take the risk? So this will come with preparation. The more you answer questions, the more you write your tests, the more you prepare, the more you assess yourself, you will come to know how to answer these questions. And the negative marking in this exam is very important. You have to assess how many marks I will lose because of negative marking. It has to be a ongoing approach during your exam. Now, once you have written your theory, and hopefully if you succeed, then based on the number of seats that are available in AIMS, suppose if there are like 10 seats available in all the different AIMS departments, then 30 people will be called for interview. Important thing to realize here is interview is not a test of your knowledge. They will ask you of questions, of course, but they will not bother what answers you are given. They are basically conducting the interview only to see you as a person, whether you will fit in their environment, what kind of thinking you have, and whether your thinking will match their thinking. That is the only thing that they assess in the interview. So you do not need to panic that I have 12 wrong questions. In my own interview, they had asked me 2 to 3 questions of which I had no idea. I frankly told them I do not know the answer to this particular question. This was because my senior had told me that be frank. Frankness is what they look in you. They don't. If you mumble answers, if you uh, try to make up stories, then that is something that they do not like. Uh, More on the interview we'll discuss when if anybody actually gets into the interview, then we'll discuss this in the group. You can contact us directly on phone also to discuss on how to approach the interview. But one important thing that I wanted to emphasize about the interview is it is not a test of your knowledge. If anybody has any further doubts on how to prepare for the exam, then we can post in the chat box. I'll be more than happy to answer.